Hi guys, it's Sunday, June 19th. I just got back from taking the dinner to the emergency workers, and I kind of had a situation happen that I thought maybe I would share with you. I left out of our village through the next village, which is a little bit bigger than ours. You got to remember our village is only 200 people. And then to the next village, which is a larger village, and it's where I come to a T intersection, and there's the main road that goes up to Kiev. And as I came to that T intersection, there were cars parked all along both sides of the roads. There's a little vet pharmacy there that we go to a lot, and there was all sorts of bicycles parked in its rack. People were lining the main road, and I needed to get some medication for our new piglets, and so I pulled over to the left, and I saw a man who has a construction store there that we stop at quite a bit. And I said, "Hey, Kolya, what's going on?" And he told me that there was a soldier that had died that was coming to that town to be buried, and that everybody was from the town had came out, or the large village, and were lining the rows with flowers and those kind of things. And I was like, wow. The vet pharmacy was locked up because they were out there. So I went ahead and got in my car, and I took the turn to go to the town to take the food to the emergency workers. And I figured, that once I saw the procession, I would probably pull over. And I got just to the edge of the large village, and the vehicle in front of me, a big van, pulled over real quickly, and I saw in the distance a police escort with its lights going, a flatbed truck which had the coffin draped with the Ukrainian flag, and then a bus behind it that probably had family and the soldiers that were going to do the gun salute. And so I quickly pulled off the road. Those of you who live in the Midwest and some of the smaller towns, you know that when a funeral comes through, you pull over to the side of the road to show your respect. So I pulled over, and the guy in front of me got out, and I realized other people were getting out of their cars, so I quickly put the van in neutral and put on the emergency brake, and I jumped out and stood by my vehicle as the procession passed by me. And I got back in my car, and it was like all of a sudden this emotion hit me. For those of you who may not know, I was in the military 9 years, U.S. Army, combat military police, and long line of military people in my family, grandfather, father, granddaughter, nephew, lots of uncles in different military. And so it just kind of hit me, In addition to being in the military, I was in Just Cause, which was the war down in Panama, involved in that down there. But just hit by the emotion of, here's a soldier coming home who has been fighting for the freedom of Ukraine, freedom from the tyranny and the dictatorship that's trying to take over, freedom from the women and children being raped and abused. So many stories of people answering a knock on their door, and it's the Russian soldiers, and they just immediately kill the man, and then often rape the women in front of the children, and sometimes if it's a young girl who's 2 years old, there's been stories like that. So these soldiers are fighting for that freedom from that, the atrocities, protecting their homeland, protecting their homes, and just kind of emotional for me, So I kind of left and controlled my emotions, got to the emergency workers and fed them, and headed back. And as I came back through that large village, there were just flowers all over the road, and most of them roses, but a lot of other flowers that had been thrown out in front of the coffin. And vehicles were trying not to run over the flowers, but there were just so many of them, and there were so many of them that even though I had my windows closed and the air conditioning on, I could smell the roses coming through, the vent, just how many flowers had been laid down. And it was just impressive, the honor and the respect that people are showing these soldiers, because, in the past, That didn't really happen. You know, it was more, I think, the poor people who ended up being in the military, and the richer people went to the university, those kind of things. But the culture around the military has changed dramatically with this war. It kind of started in 2014, changing a little bit, where it's just a lot of honor and respect for these soldiers. So anyway, just to kind of share that experience a little bit, some of the emotions sometimes that we encounter here. And I shared a post on Facebook not too long ago of the town nearest us and a soldier that was laid to rest, and just lots of people lining the streets, kneeling as the coffin went by. Just impressed with the honor and the respect that they're showing here. So just a little story for you about life here in Ukraine during the war.